Hello, welcome to our yoga practice today. I'm Natasha, and today we're going to focus on purpose, which is quite a big topic. So we're going to, sometimes we can just go through the motions. So as on our mat, as is in life, sometimes we get into just routines, we just kind of go through and we don't really know why we're doing something. So today we're trying to really think about what we're doing when we're doing it, bringing our attention inwards, think of what benefit it has, and then also we've kind of got some flows that really try to hold our attention in, so a little different to what we normally do. So if you'd like to begin by lying on your back, and then just taking this time to really think, are you comfortable? Are you ready? Is there a draft coming in? Do you need the jumper on? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Would you like to light some candles? Just anything that's going to get you into the right mood. So this is a space that you're creating. I'm aware we can't all be in studios, especially at the moment. So we just need to try and find that just little pocket. It doesn't have to be a whole room, just a little space around where you are. And then once you're there, relaxing onto your mat. Big breath in, big breath out, and maybe just taking a few sighs if that feels nice, to just release and let go. Anything you've been carrying, it doesn't need to be negative to let go. Maybe a project done, a conversation that you've had, a run that you've been on, but just like, you can let go of that now. Big breath in, big breath out. And just be aware of any sounds around you. Just knowing that it happens, there are sounds, we can't make the world quiet. So we just need to learn to not let them distract us. They're just sounds that anchor you into that moment. They were always meant to be there. Big breath in. Big breath out. I'd like you to turn your attention inwards. So again, we're trying to avoid just going through the motions and just kind of doing things with purpose. So I'd like you to pay attention to your emotions. Not necessarily just labeling good, bad, happy, sad. There are a whole grey spectrum of emotions. And each of them has a purpose. Each of them is there to teach us something. So I want you just to really acknowledge what's there. In Morita therapy, they encourage us to acknowledge your emotions, to welcome them, invite them to come and lie next to you on your mat, and to promise to look after them. See them all as valuable as each other. They all have a purpose. Big breath in. Big breath out. Just focus on that breath. And just before we begin our asana practice, thinking of the purpose of you being on your mat. What brought you here today? Did you fancy a stretch? Did you feel obligated? Did you need some just space and time to yourself? Maybe you want to strengthen. They are all right answers. Wherever you're here is exactly the reason why you should be here. But it's just to keep that purpose in your mind as we go through practice. We can tend to fall into old routines with our body, but also routines with our thinking. So just keep coming back to your breath and coming back to your purpose. We'll gently begin by stretching the arms and legs long. Really stretching out, waking that body up. Good, and just relaxing there. So arms and legs are still extended, but no tension. Inhale, really stretch. Exhale, release. And once more, inhale, stretching. But this time, I'd like you to bring your right knee into your chest, holding them with your hand, and just gently guide that in. If that's not available to you, you can hold the back of the leg. Or if you have a strap, it could be a Pilates strap, it could be a dressing gown, belt, just anything that kind of extends your arms, and you can hold it around your leg. Otherwise, just drawing that leg in. You can just begin to do some slow ankle rotations. This is a lovely one, as our feet carry us around all the time, just to give those little ankles a stretch. But also a nice one, especially if you close your eyes and try to synchronize your breath with the movement. So we inhale as we lift in the circle, and exhale as we lower it in the rotation. This helps draw our attention inwards. Change in direction. And then gently, using your left hand, we're going to guide the right knee over to the left side of the body. But we're going to try to keep the right shoulder on the floor. So you may find that you've got ego, which is definitely mine. I'm so keen to get that knee on the floor, but my shoulder will lift up. And so I'm just going to come back, bring that shoulder down, and then my knee is wherever it goes. And then just try to release in that pose. So your foot can kind of be like, oh, where do we put that? So just maybe tuck it in behind the leg. Turning to look over your right shoulder, but you can have your eyes closed. If they are open, almost looking just towards the edge of the mat, something close by and not wandering around the room. Big breath in, big breath out. Just try and release into that a little more. And then gently come back onto your back. Giving that knee a little hug once more and then extending it long. And you may want to extend the arms and legs again just to realign. And let's go to the other side. And again, being aware that your body will be different on each side. So you may have been easily holding one leg and you can't the other. It's totally fine. But just adapt to each side. And if I just stay here, I'm not really doing anything. So just make sure you find your stretch. So if your stretch is here, perfect. If your stretch is here, perfect. But just make sure you go to your stretch. And then gently rotating your ankle. Again, taking your time, trying to synchronize that with your breath. And as your mind wanders, which it will, it's what it's kind of trained to do, is feed you information. But we just need to try and quieten that down. So you can let the thoughts come, but just let them go. Come back to your breath and focus on what you're doing with your body. If you haven't already, change in direction. Good. Pause in there and then gently, using your right hand to guide the left knee across the body. Again, try to keep your shoulders on the floor. So just go in wherever you need to. And then if you have the space, extending your left arm out to the side, turning your gaze towards the left. Big inhale, big exhale. And just release and let your body back in. So don't need to hold yourself. If you think, oh, it's relaxed, we can go a little more, then do. And coming back onto your spine. Hugging both knees into your chest now. And then just gently, your right hand on your right knee, left hand on the left. And we're just going to do some circles with the hips. Just opening those. So imagine the ball and socket joint of your hip. We're just trying to get a big circle there. Trying to keep the lower back on the floor. Your body might want to arch up, so just try and push the lower back down. And then change in direction. Good. And just release and relax into what you're doing. If your mind starts thinking 3 steps ahead, just come back. Just focus on what you're doing right now. And then hugging the knees in. So we're going to come to a seated position. So if you're happy to and your spine is fine, you can hold the back of your leg and you can get momentum, lifting the hips and rock and roll up to seated. I'm 5 months pregnant, so I'm not going to do that. And if you're pregnant, probably don't do that. Or instead, I'm going to roll onto my side. So if for any reason you just don't fancy rocking and rolling, or you're protective of your spine, then just pushing yourself back up. And then come to a seated position. So for this, excuse me, if you need to, grab a cushion. So ideally, we want our hips and knees to either be in line or the hips slightly higher. When the knees are higher, it's really difficult because the pelvis tilts backwards, we just naturally round our back. So we want to try and avoid this, but as sometimes we can't just push the knees down, so instead we're going to try and elevate the hips. So, just take in a cushion. So if you don't have one to hand, I should have warned you at the beginning, but just go grab one now. It's really worth it. We're not going to stay here for too long, but it's just kind of, it's nice, it's worth the effort. And again, if you're still a bit like this, maybe an extra cushion, something thicker, just as long as you don't feel that you're wobbly or going to fall off. Or just wait just a moment or two so you can go grab what you need to. And then it's coming into any seated position that you feel comfortable. And then grounding yourself down. So not at the back, just do every so often. I do just love a big sigh. Just a nice release. But if you can, trying to breathe in and out through your nose throughout the practice. So you're grounding down. And just really sit on your sit bones. Again, try to avoid rounding the back. But equally, sometimes we compensate. We lift the chest and we tilt that pelvis forwards. So we're trying to get a happy balance. Imagining your pelvis is like a jug of water. If we tilt too far forwards, we're going to spill forwards. If we tap too far, it's going to spill backwards. So we're trying to keep that water balanced in there. And then a big inhale. Reaching the arms up, lengthening the spine. Dropping your right hand down to the mat. So either on your fingertips or on the palm of the hand. Try to avoid just resting on the knuckle joint of the fingers. And then we're laterally stretching. So we're reaching over to the side. So we're digging down through the left hip as we reach across with the left arm. Turning your gaze up really helps to open up the chest and shoulder. And just be mindful on this side, as I'm naturally doing, we tend to just slouch into that shoulder. What we really want to do is drop that shoulder away from the ear. So maybe that you just need to bend that arm a little. And stretch. Big inhale. Big exhale. And on your next inhale, oof, reaching them both up. Going to the other side. Again, so digging down through your hip, reaching across past your ear, and then turning your gaze up. Keeping the supporting shoulder away from the ear. Big inhale. Big exhale. Coming back to center. I'm going to do them again a little quicker. I'm going to sweep in between, just to get the spine working as well in a different direction. So inhale, open the arms up. And then as we exhale, we're going to sweep forwards and open up to the other side. Exhale forwards, sweep and open up. Once more, exhale, open, exhale. Inhale to open. And then lift it up. Back to center, big stretch. And releasing the arms down. We're going to come into some spine rotations, and we're going to use cactus arms. So I'll show you from the front, but then we're going to do it on the rotation. So we're going to inhale up, then we're going to turn to the side and exhale into our cactus arms. So trying to get that 90-degree angle here. Inhale back up to center. So exhale to the right, cactus arms. Inhale back up. Exhale to the side. Inhale. Exhale. And you're really trying to look behind you. So if your eyes are open, make them engaged in the rotation as well. So looking into the corner of the eyes. One more on each side. And exhale. Good. Inhaling back up. Then just placing the hands onto your knees with your seated variation of the cat-cow. So inhale, pelvis tilt, splashing that water forwards, opening the chest, extending the neck, gazing up. Exhale, chin to chest, chest pushes back, tucking the tailbone under, so we're pouring the water backwards now. And then just moving between the two with your breath. And then coming to a neutral spine. I'm going to come into bound angle now. So this is opening up the hips some more. And we've done a little, but we haven't done too much. So if your hips aren't quite there, what you can do is just use cushions and blocks to just kind of support you. Just grab a block. Maybe you just kind of need a little support under your knees. Sorry, we're going to be bound, so it'll be more like this. So if you need to just grab, then do. We're not here for too long, but it's nice to know your options. So from our bound angle, so again, this is my ego. I'm desperate trying to pull those feet into me, but we don't need to for this one. They can just be wherever they want to go. And if you're like this, that's exactly where you should be. If you're like this, if you're touching the floor, everything's fine. You just need to go to where your body wants to be. Going to inhale up. We're really going to use our hips here to come forward. So we're trying to keep a strong spine. So we're more leading with the chest, gaze stays up. We're not rounding the back at this point. So again, like me, it may be that you barely move between. It may be that you're almost chest onto the floor. But we're trying to open up the hips here. We're just going to stay for 3, for 2, and for 1. Coming in, we're going to close this as if we're closing a book. So the right knee comes over onto the left. We're going to roll through into a tabletop. So you may need a little extra space here. You can shuffle back onto the mat, or if you're not so, if you don't care as much as me, then just stay where you land. It's quite nice and we'll be rolling back. Anyway, so you're on all fours, and then we do the full version of cat-cow. So inhaling. Lifting your chin and chest, exhale, rounding the spine. So when you're inhaling, imagine you're lengthening your spine, you're really trying to open the chest, the collarbone forwards. Exhale, draw that belly button up in towards your spine. Good, and release. So now we're going to sit back down onto that left hip, so we're just reversing back out. Opening back up into the bound angle. And then this time we're rounding our back. So it's almost like you're leading with the crown of the head. Chin to chest, you're rounding down. And again, just go into where you can. So you'll still feel this in your hips because we're just opening them, but we're really trying to lengthen and just release some of the tension in the spine here. Let your head just hang down. Big inhale. Big exhale. And then gently rounding back up. We're going to go to the other side. So closing the book to the other way. Rolling onto all fours. But this time we're coming into a happy puppy. So from here, extending your arms forwards. We keep the hips above the knees. But we aim to bring the chest down. If this is too much, bring your elbows down to the floor. That might support you. Really nice off your back, really opening up your shoulders here. You can place your chin on the floor or your forehead. Big inhale. Big exhale. Gently. Come back to all fours. Bring your knees together, allow yourself to come down onto the right hip. Open back and go down angle. And then we're back to our hip opener. So once again, inhale, exhale, coming forward with a strong spine. So our spine is never straight, We just kind of want to lengthen the spine, so we're not rounding it. So if I say straight spine, it's not that I actually mean a straight spine, but just we're not putting extra curves where they don't need to be. Gently lifting back up. Okay, now stick with me. This does work, but it just takes a little while. So we're going to extend our right leg to the side, and then we're going to place our hands down to the left and roll over, and we're coming through a pigeon pose. So this doesn't quite land you where you need to be. We need to move that left knee out to the side a little more. Roll our hips through, and then just adjust. So once again, your pigeon may be up here, and that is fine. You can always use blocks or cushions under that hip if it's lifted, just to support you a little. And then releasing into that stretch. We're not going to be here too long, but if you want to bow forwards, you can. We're just going to hold that for another 3, for 2, and for 1. So from here, we're going to allow ourselves down, and we're going to roll on our left side and then onto our back. So we've still got our right leg extended and left knee bent. So we're just going to repeat what we did earlier, hugging the left knee into the chest and then allowing it to rotate over towards the right side. Good, so just another spine rotation. Big inhale, big exhale. Good, coming back to center. We're going to roll all the way through onto the left. So your left knee is still bent, right knee is still extended. We use our hands to help push ourselves up to seated. And voila! So, have a wide angle forward fold, but our left knee is bent, left foot tucks it in. So from here, we're going to come into another lateral stretch. So I want you to face into the gap between your legs. If this knee is bent, doesn't matter. So facing into the gap, inhale, arms up, and as we exhale, really stretching across. So we're not just rounding it, we're really stretching with your right side as well, going as far as you can. Once you have, releasing the arm down, taking your chin up. This just really helps prevent us coming into a forward fold. It keeps us nice and open, so we're really just going sideways. For 3, for 2, for 1. From here, sweeping that left arm all the way over, placing it to the outside of your hip. You're coming to fallen angel, so try not to overthink this. We're just going to lift up onto the left knee, the right foot, and open up with the right arm. Taking a big stretch here, stretching fingers and toes. We're opening our hips, our chest, our shoulders, and gently release back down. Good, come back into your bound angle, soles of the feet together. See, so this little flow is definitely trying to hold your attention, so we're not just going through the motions here. We're going to do it on the other side. But before we do, our bound angle, chin to chest, rolling yourself down. Keep breathing. So in this position we feel, oof, we're so squished up, where is there space to breathe? We just have to try and find it. Be patient. Keep your breath steady and you'll find that breath. Gently rolling back up. So this time, your left leg is extending to the side. We roll through, move that right knee to the outside, towards the right side of the mat, but you'll need to find where it suits you. And again, each side may be different, so just figure out where you need to be. You can stay upright, bow forwards. So again, we're just really stretching. This time we're stretching the outside of the hip. So we're doing a lot of work around the hips today, which is just always good to open up those hips. For another 3, for 2, for 1. Good. Gently rolling onto your right side and then rolling through onto your back. The right knee comes into the chest. And then we guide that across. So this is our spine rotation. So just releasing any pressure from your spine. And the higher your knee is, the further up your back you're stretching. So if it's more in line with your hip, it's more the lower back. If it's closer to your chest, it's more the mid-back. Big inhale, big exhale. Good, and then rolling through all the way onto the right side, using the left hand to help push you up to seated. And then just adjusting so your left leg is extended, the right foot is tucked in. Again, you're facing that void between and not the extended leg. Big inhale, arms up. And then as you exhale, reaching across to the left side, really reaching with the left as well. And as far as you can, and then allow the left arm to drop. Gazing up. Big inhale. Big exhale. With an inhale, sweeping the arm up and over, placing the hand outside the right hip. Opening up into your fallen angel. Big stretch. Gently. Releasing back down. You're going to bring the ankles in, crossing the ankles. So if you're already facing the front of your mat, then stay as you are, otherwise turning. We're going to place the hands down. We're going to tuck the toes under and allow ourselves to come into down dog. So if like me, you may need to step back and just find that down dog. So really just taking your time to begin with. The masterpiece doesn't happen straight away. So we just need to think, oh yeah, I need to really ground down through my whole hands. I'm really trying to broaden my shoulders, lengthen my spine, really get those hips up to the ceiling. Once you've got all that going on, you can worry about bringing your heels down or maybe straightening the knees, but they shouldn't be a priority. From here, lifting your chest, lifting your gaze, and walk those feet to your hands, releasing into a forward fold. Just take this opportunity to put my hair back. I want you just to release here. So looking between your leg, not to your feet. Maybe gently swaying from side to side. But only if it feels nice. If it's just avoiding the stillness, then just be with the stillness. And then we're gently going to roll ourselves up. So stacking vertebrae on vertebrae as we come all the way up. And taking a big inhale at the top. Sweeping the arms up. And releasing down. Good. Pause in here for a moment. Let me just tilt that screen so we can definitely see. So I want you to ground down. So imagining you've got a penny or something under the knuckle of your big toe. So you're really grounding down there. So as if you're trying to create roots going down, but then imagine you're trying to lift yourself up. So you're treading so gently. Growing tall with an exhale. Just contracting those transverse muscles, that kind of corset of muscles that runs around. We're opening the chest, but we don't want to arch our back to do so. So more just allowing the shoulders to kind of roll backwards. Gently bringing the chin in line so we're not lifting up too much. I feel strong in this position, grounded in this position. I need to go through 3 salutations. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bowing forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Almost squeezing your shoulder blades together to really lengthen your spine. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step back into plank position. Bringing your knees down to the mat. Then we lower ourselves all the way down. Try to keep your elbows as close to your body as you can as you lower down. So if when you do this, you lower here, and then you need to let your hips go, that's fine. Just keep doing it, because each time you might get a little bit further, and you're building that strength. Lowering yourself all the way down, untuck the toes. We're going to lift up into up dog. I'm not going to do the whole thing, because I'm not going to do back bends. But what we can do, lifting up, you're pushing up. You'll try and keep your hips slightly lower down. You're lifting your chest forwards, really try to avoid sinking into your shoulders, so really lift up out of your shoulders. Gently lower yourself back down. Using the help of your knees, we're going to push back, tuck your toes, lift your hips into your down dog. From here, gazing forward, Walk, step or jump your feet to your hands. Again, they land wherever they land, just to shuffle them back to where they need to be. Release down. Halfway lift with an inhale. Exhale, bowing forwards. Inhale all the way to standing. And exhale, release your hands. Try to be still here. Try to avoid adjusting your hair or your t-shirts. Be still. On your next inhale, arms up. Exhale forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step or jump back into your plank. This time, if you want to use your knees to, if you'd rather not and just lower yourself all the way down, then do that. Whatever works for you. Coming down, untucking the toes, lifting up. Big inhale, tuck your toes. Exhale, push back into your down dog. Inhale, gazing forwards. Walk, step or jump, your feet to your hands. Releasing down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale all the way to standing. And exhale to release. Be still. Big breath in. Big breath out. And as our focus is purpose, really breathe with purpose. Imagine what that breath is doing to you. Big breath in. Big breath out. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bowing forwards. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, hands out, step or jump. Back into your plank. Lower yourself down to the floor. Inhale, into your chest opener, so your backbone. So really opening that chest, opening the collarbone, lifting through your shoulders. Tuck your toes, push back, down dog. Inhale, gazing forwards. Walk, step or jump, feet to hands. Release down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale. Inhale, all the way up to standing. And release, arms by your side. Big breath in. Big breath out. Okay, let's go through a flow. So as you inhale this time, I'd like to sweep your arms forwards. We're going to sit into our chair, our Utkatasana. So just sit in where you start to feel that. So I don't want it to just be, oh, you could stay there for like an hour. You do really want to feel that. So it's that Stiram Sukha, our balance between our effort and our ease. Try to make sure that you can see your toes and actually give them a wiggle. So your weight is in the back. If like me, you're prone to stick in your butt to try and balance, try and draw that belly button in. Arms out. Oof, that's probably long enough now. Hands down, hips up. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the floor, into your plank. Down to the floor. And opening up. Push back, down dog. So pause in here, grounding through your hands, so the whole hand, your knuckles, your fingertips, as well as the palm of your hand. We're going to lift up with the right leg. So just lifting wherever you can go. A big stretch, then do into our three-legged dog. Then we're going to step forwards. Bringing that foot forwards. So your right foot comes forwards and you lift into your high lunge. So both feet facing forwards, the back heels off the floor. And stretch in here. Good. Inhale, lifting up. We're just going to allow that back heel to come down. So actually we're going to come into a warrior one, and for me this stance is too long, so I just need to hop that foot forward slightly. My hips stay forwards. I'm trying to avoid tilting my pelvis too much. I'm just going to try and bring my ribs down to just try and balance that out. And then arms up and drawing my palms together. Good. Stay for 3, for 2, and for 1. Good, we're going to open now into a warrior 2. So I want you to focus on this front knee. So we're going to open up, so our hips now rotate round to the side. So we're trying to really open through this left hip. We want to keep this knee, making sure it's facing forwards, it's not coming past the ankle, and it's not coming inside. So this is the main priority, and then we just stretch as far as we can. If stretching too much to the side brings that knee in, we just need to come back slightly. Arms out. Stay from your shoulders above your hips, stretching your fingers in both directions. Hold for 3, for 2, and for 1. We're going to pivot back into that high lunge, hips facing forwards, feet facing forwards, hands down, step back into your down dog, and then we go through our flow. So we roll forward here into our plank, we lower ourselves down to the mat, inhale, lifting up. Good. If at any point you need to rest or you feel something just isn't right for your body is the best teacher you will ever have. So listen to your body. If it's not sure about something, then just come back out, pause, and we can catch back up at another time. If you want to take a rest, you can come down into child pose at any time. And again, just join back in when you're ready. In the meantime, it's coming to our down dog, and we're going to do the same on the other side. So left leg reaching up, with control, stepping the foot forward and lifting up into your high lunge. So in this one, we need to just draw that front hip back, so the left hip comes back, and try and balance those hips. And then we're going to transition into our warrior one. So we allow that hip to the back heel to come down, so the toes just point almost to the top corner of the mat. Let's get the hips back, facing forward, arms up, palms together. Hold for 3, for 2, for 1. Open up now into your warrior 2. So for me, that means I just need to rotate this back foot to try and allow that to open. But the focus is keeping that knee facing forward. And then our kind of instinct is to lean forwards. We want to try and sit back. Good. Tucking your tailbone under so we're not kicking the bum out. And then arms out. Big inhale. Big exhale. Hold for 3, for 2, for 1. Pivoting forwards into your high lunge. So feet facing forwards, hands down. Step back into a down dog. Lifting your gaze. Walk, step or jump your feet to your hands. Releasing down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale all the way to standing. And exhale to release. Be still. Big breath in. Big breath out. And just check in with yourself. Check in with your purpose, why you're on your mat today. Good. Let's go again. So we're going to do the same flow, but we're just going to extend it a little further. So once again, sweeping those arms forward, finding your chair, just going through your cue, so reaching up with the arms, belly button in, wiggling those toes so you can see them. 3, 2, 1. Hands down, hips up. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down into your plank. Lower yourself down to the mat. And inhale into your chest, open up. Really mean this one. I know I can't give a good example of this, but really as if you're a wave crashing onto a rock, really opening up. With your next exhale, tucking the toes, push back, down dog. So once again, grounding through those hands. Now what's going to support you? Actually, just bring your knees down for a moment. So sometimes we can get achy wrists, and often, one, we don't necessarily stretch them. So while I'm talking, maybe just give your wrist a little wiggle. But in normal life, we wouldn't have this much pressure on our wrists, so you can really feel it. Another reason is because often when we contact the floor, we could just, our fingers could just be dancing around because they're not really doing anything. It's all just on this joint, on the pad of your hand. So what you want to do is really grip down the whole hand. Imagine you're trying to get your fingerprints on there, every knuckle, really, and spread your fingers as wide as you can. And you'll find that that just alleviates some of that pressure that's just falling onto that wrist joint. So just give that a go. So, in your down dog, your arm, right leg, reaching up to the sky, stepping forwards, opening, high lunge. Allow that back heel to come down, warrior one. Inhale, lifting up, opening into your warrior two. Good, inhaling, coming back, high lunge. From here, we're going to come into our warrior three. So hips facing forwards. You can come in through your high lunge or you can step forward. Whatever works better for you. No ego, just do what you need to do. So from here, I'm going to take a little step. And then we're trying to pivot or hinge from your hips. So what we're trying to do is keep a straight line. So I would much rather your warrior three is here, then you're just kind of collapsing down, but you're desperate to get kind of parallel with the floor. So strong fingers, strong toes, hinging forwards, going wherever you find, and if your hips are opening up, just try and turn that down a little bit. We're going to hold for three. If you fall out, come back in, even if there's just 1 second left. For two, for one. Gently step back. Hands down. Step back, roll. So you can rest here in down dog or roll forward through your flow. Coming up. Push back, down dog. Let's do the same on the other side. So left leg opening up. Stepping forwards, high lunge. Allow the heel to come down, warrior one. Open the hips out to the side, warrior two. Inhale back, closing the hips so they come back into our neutral position. Forwards, and then from here, lifting, pivoting forwards, holding for three, for two, for one, dropping that foot down, hands down, step back, down dog. Bring your knees down, untuck the toes. Just take a pause in child pose for a moment. Big inhale, big exhale. So use this time to just try and regulate. If you can feel your heart beating, try and slow that heartbeat down by slowing your breath down. Using it as a tiny recovery, but also these deep breaths are going to give you energy to do our last flow. Big breath in, big breath out. Filling yourself full of new energy. When you're ready, tucking those toes, lifting the hips. Right leg, reaching up. Stepping forwards, high lunge. Open it, warrior two. So your hips stay forwards, but we just allow that the foot to turn out. Good, and then opening the hips to the side. Warrior two. Lifting back up, back into that neutral hip position, into your high lunge. And then we're coming forward into your warrior three. From here, if you can keep the foot off the floor, then do. But if not, just pop down and see what I'm doing. We're going to come into, so you'll stay facing the same way. So from your warrior three, you're going to bring that knee forward. And then we're going to cross it over the right thigh. So you're coming down into our eagle arms. Our eagle legs, sorry, we're not doing the arms. So you can sit down. Toes can be pointed or you can go for the double tuck. But just make sure that foot's engaged either way. And then we just want the arms up. Good, we're going to hold for three, for two, for one. Stay with me. We're going to bring this left knee up. We're going to tuck it behind the right thigh this time and gently come down to the floor. Don't worry if that was all a blur, we've got the other side to do so we can go through it again. So whilst you're in this position, We're just going to gently rotate to the right side. So you can go a little deeper, you can place your elbow to the outside of that knee. I'm not going to rotate too much, but you go where you can. Back to center. Just a little counter stretch on the other side. Good, and now we're going to try and reverse back out of that. So use your hands for support. Grounding down through that right foot, we're going to try and lift back up. Whoop, bring that knee forward. Stepping back into a high lunge. Hands down to the floor. And then just while we're here, we're going to do a little hop up. So you might want to move that right foot back slightly. Pushing down with that right foot, just gently hopping up. So this is just a nice one. If you're very used to your handstand practice, then this may be very easy for you. But for most of us, it's quite unusual to be upside down, especially putting pressure like this. So it's a really nice one just to get you a little more used to that position. Good. And then stepping back into a down dog, rolling forward, lowering yourself down, inhaling up. And push back. Okay, let's do the last side. Tuck your toes. Down dog. Reaching up with the left foot. Bring that foot forward, placing down. Open. High lunge. Allow the back heel to come down into your warrior one. Open up into your warrior two. Hips come forwards into their neutral position, into high lunge. And then we lift forwards into warrior three. We don't pause here too long. We're going to lift up, bring that right knee forwards, cross it high over the left thigh, and sit down into your eagle legs. So we've been doing a lot of opening of the hips. Now it seems like we're closing them. It's a really lovely one. We're still really stretching in there, but also that compression we're causing. So when we release that, lots of new blood, new nutrients are going to flood into that area. Lifting up, crossing the right thigh behind the left, place the right foot on the floor, and gently, as if you're doing a really deep curtsy, allow yourself to come down onto the floor. Oof. I'm out of breath now. Big breath in, big breath out. And then rotating around to your left side. And on these rotations, big breath, or generally in most positions when you're inhaling, you're trying to lengthen and create space. And as you exhale, you'll see if you go a little deeper, a little further, or just relax a little more into that position. Back to center, gently to the other side. Good, let's try and reverse back out. So grounding down through the hands, ground through the left foot. Gonna lift ourselves back up. Bring that knee forward, stepping the knee back, high lunge, hands down. And then once again, just playful, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. You can just step back into down dog. But otherwise, using that left foot to just help launch you up, leading with the right foot, make a straight leg up to the sky. Maybe one more. And then just stepping back into your down dog. Bring your knees down, untuck the toes, and rest in child pose for a moment. Big inhale, big exhale. If your mind is wandering, just gently come back. Come back to your breath. Good, gently. Now come to all fours, crossing the ankles over, and just roll to sit back. Extend the legs out in front of you. And just shuffle forward. I'm just going to lower into a bridge position. So just lowering yourself down. grounding down through the soles of the feet, trying to make sure they're in line with your knees and your hips. And then as we lift up, I want you to peel yourself off the floor. So imagine you're peeling a label off. We're going to start at the lowest point and continually go. What the body wants to do is kind of lift the back, arch the lower back, so I don't you see, lift up and then push back down. And that's what we want to avoid doing. So we want to tilt the pelvis, lift up, exhale, so the lower back touches before the hips. So inhale to lift. And when you're doing this, again, the knees might want to fall out, so just try to keep them tracking above the ankles. And lower back down. If you want to, you can open the arms up. Woof. Be careful of any open flames. And then gently lowering back down. Opening up. And lower down. So continue with these. If you want to go further, you can lift up. You can interlock your fingers beneath you and walk your shoulder blades in towards each other underneath you. And then really lift your hips. Again, I'm not going to be able to go too far in this, but just lifting your hips as much as you can, opening your chest as much as you can. Good. If you're doing this one, then pausing. If you're lifting and lowering, just keep going with the rhythm. And then gently release your shoulders, release your hands, lowering down. Bringing your knees into your chest, just to counter that stretch. Giving them a little hug. Again, rocking from side to side, but only if that serves you. If it feels nice, as if it's massaging your lower back, then do it. But if it's unnecessary movement, just be still. And then from here, we're going to come into happy babies. We've done so much hip work. Let's celebrate those hips. So you can either hold the back of the thighs, or if you can reach, you can hold the outside of the feet. So you're trying to get the feet as if you're trying to put a footprint on the ceiling, ankles above the knees, and then gently pushing down. So if, like me, to do this, your hips have come off the floor, we gently try to aim to bring those hips back down. They might not come down straight away, but we're just aiming for that. Gently tucking your chin into your chest to make the neck long. And just sit and relax. Again, might be nice to rock, but only if it serves you. Big breath in. Big breath out. Just relax. If your mind's wandering, come back to your breath. Be breathing with purpose. Good. Gently releasing your left leg long. We're going to hug this right knee in. So we're going to close as we started. Bring the right knee into the chest. And then gently guide that across the body into your Maltese cross variation. And with your exhale, just really be heavy, relax into this position. Gently come back onto your back, extending arms and legs long. And then the other side, left knee comes in, hugging that knee in. And gently guiding it across to the right side, extending the left arm, turning your head towards the left. Big inhale, big exhale. And gently finding your way onto your back. Another big stretch out. And any twists or turns you need to do, just feel that you need to before you can come into your Shavasana. So for today, you can stay on the mat. If you prefer to be seated, then feel free to be seated or legs up the wall. You can have soles of the feet together in our bound ankle. You can have soles on the floor towards the outside of the mat and knees together. Or just our traditional corpse pose. So arms by your side, palms facing up. Take your time. Once again, if you need to turn any lights out, if you want to put some socks on, put a blanket over you, really take your time. So all that we do, all the movement we do is to release tension and toxins. So we're just able to sit for longer, to be still. So this is all all the movement we've done is about this stillness now. So really give this some respect, give it some time. And then once you're there, taking a big inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Release, imagine you've just dislodged all these tensions and toxins, and now you can just release them away from you. Big inhale. Big exhale. And I know it's tempting for the mind to just fill you with information, to try and guide you away. But the purpose now is just to try to just be present. So just focus on your breath. And every time you become aware that you've drifted off, be really grateful that you've become aware and come back to your breath. And allowing that breath to really expand inside you. Big inhale. Big exhale. And as you breathe, imagine all the cells in your body that are receiving that breath. It's something like 37 trillion cells in our body. Imagine they're all tiny, tiny light bulbs. And every time we breathe a little deeper, a few more of those light bulbs come alight. Maybe at the moment it's just in the lungs. Breathe deeper into the stomach comes alive. And then imagine you're trying to light up your whole body. Breathing into your elbows, to your earlobes, all the way into your fingertips. Around each vertebrae. All the way down to your toes. The deeper you breathe, the more the lights come on. Till eventually our whole body is aglow with this light, this energy our breath has created. Big breath in. Big breath out. To keep those light bulbs on, we have to keep breathing deeply. Otherwise they dim, they fade. Big breath in. Big breath out. And coming back to our purpose. Sometimes it can seem daunting to think, what is our purpose? But knowing that life is made up of small purposes, day by day, moment by moment. To thinking as you're about to lift off your mat, continue with your day, what's your purpose? We can't always control where our days take us, but we can control our attitude towards them. So maybe just taking this positive light you've created, taking that through your day. When you're ready, big inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Gently allow movement back into your body, fingers and toes, maybe head from side to side. It might feel nice to stretch out, it might feel nice to really curl up. Whatever kind of feels nice for your body, what you need, whether you're trying to energize yourself or you want to stay just kind of in this little Zen bubble. And then eventually working your way onto your right side, just lying there for a moment in a fetal position. Big inhale, big exhale. This is a really lovely transition from our mat back into our real world. And I want you just to think, what do you want to leave behind and what do you want to take with you? And then as you inhale, pushing yourself up to seated position. Just finding a spot where you're comfortable. Grounding yourself down and then growing yourself tall. We take a breath together. Inhale, reaching the arms up. Palm to palm. Lower your hands down in front of your heart. Bowing your head. Thanking yourself for taking the time to practice today. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you for joining me.